What's up guys, WaggioStrats back with another video, and today, by request, we're going to be taking a look at Unchained. Unchained the chain, I fully support that. Lavolval chain did nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong, man. I did nothing wrong whatsoever.
There you go, enjoy that Triff joke in 2021. No, but really, it is the Unchained archetype. How's that for a solid transition? Fucking flawless. The Unchained archetype made its debut in Chaos Impact in the way back year of 2019, also known as the Before Times. As of this video, they've also received support in Ignition Assault, as well as Eternity Code in the godless year that was 2020. Unchained is an archetype of fiend monsters, which are all either people or dogs. That's not important to note, I wanted to point that out. Almost all of their main deck monster stats are divisible by 1500 in some way. Most things are dark attribute in the archetype with the exception of 2 of the twins. And yes, I do mean 2 of the twins, there is 3 of them. But wait, you're probably saying, doesn't that make them triplets? Yeah, you know, it sounds like a fake Unchained fan to me, okay? Just get out of here. Alright, but enough general nonsense, let's take a look at these cards individually. The archetype has 3 level 3 monsters, the twins, in the main deck, and 2 level 8s, the souls. For convenience, and because I'm lazy, each of the twins have the same floating effect that reads, if this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, except for its own, or by battle, you can special summon 1 Unchained monster from your hand or deck, except another copy of itself. They all float. When they're destroyed by battle or card effect, we all float down here. For twin number 1, we've got Unchained Twins Rakia. Yeah, that one. Blue. Level 3, Water Attribute Fiend. It's got 1500 attack and defense, like I said, and its unique effect is that quick effect, you can target 1 card you control, destroy it, and then after you do that, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for fiends. So in any Unchained deck, this is like auto 3 of, just straight to the point. You can blow up a card on your field for no reason other than to lock you into fiends. Amazing. But actually, it facilitates a lot of plays and has synergy with just about every other card in the archetype, which is shocking for a card in an archetype, I know. I'd say it's a shame that it locks you into fiends, but honestly, the pool of good fiend cards is solid enough for it to really not be an issue, and it being a quick effect definitely comes into play. Twin numero dos is Unchained Aruha. Aruha! It's got the fire attribute 1, 1500 attack and defense, just like every other twin. Oh, wait, the same stats and an opposing attribute. Some twinsy stuff going on. Aruha's unique effect, you can target 1 card you control. You can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for, guess what, fiend monsters. Also destroy the targeted card, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. So, the synergy with Rakia is about as subtle as Ultimate Conductor Tyranno during the battle phase.
I get it. It's like a normal thing, but Yu-Gi-Oh stylized.
No, but honestly, this one's really awesome because you're gonna see as we go through this whole archetype floats like every single card. So this card and like any other Unchained card, monster or anything, can get your combos rolling, and it's a special summon from the hand, so it's just free monsters on board. It's fantastic. Easy 3 of. Alright, and for our third twin,
What are triplets?
we got Unchained Twins Samara. Samara's unique effect is that you can target 1 Unchained card in your graveyard, except for a copy of itself, and send it to your field, then destroy 1 card you control. So it's an archetype recursion for both monsters and spell and trap, plus it triggers like every card effect, and it doesn't have the fiend lock, which means depending on what turn it is in the duel and what your deck looks like, you can do a lot of things with this before using the other 2 twins effect and locking yourself into fiends. Pretty solid. This card may have been the only piece of support for the deck in Eternity Code, but damn was it good. Most builds run 2 or 3. It's a great extender, it doesn't require a whole lot of setup, and yeah, it can recover like anything from the graveyard. What else is there to say? So on to the high level boyos. First we got Abominable Unchained Soul. It's a level 8 Dark Fiend with 3000 attack and 1500 defense. Its effect reads, you can only special summon Abominable Unchained Soul once per turn. If a card or cards you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can discard one card, destroy one card on the field. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent there this turn, you can special summon this card, but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. The main deck beater, a main deck piece of disruption if something is destroyed, including on your opponent's turn. A Rakia effect, much quick effect, oh boy, synergy! It can special summon itself from the hand, it recycles itself. If it didn't have that only one summon, like you can only special summon it once per turn clause, it would be phenomenal. The pop's really cool because it doesn't target, and it being an Unchained Soul makes it a key piece for getting to link monsters. Run 1 to 2, too many in the hand is bricky, and your whole deck can get it out when you need it for the most part, so you don't really need to run 3. And then the last main deck monster, and our first doggo, is the Unchained Soul of Disaster. Named after the effect it has on your hand when you draw it. It is a level 8 Dark Attribute Fiend. It's got big old question mark attack and 3000 defense.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
So this effect, it gains 300 attack for each Unchained card in your graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Unchained Soul of Disaster once per turn. First effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one dark link monster using only this card you control and that opponent's monster as material. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one unchained monster in your graveyard except Unchained Soul of Disaster, special summon it. So it's the only one without 1500 or 3k in the main stat in the main deck. Again, not important. I just want to say that it can be a solid way to get over problem monsters at times. Say if you can't beat something in battle, you don't want to have to deal with the Boral Sword or something. Just link it away. It's fine. The attack gain is pretty useless. In the duels I had, it never really came up. It is worth noting that it's not each like different named Unchained card. It's just Unchained card in your graveyard. So if you have like 3 copies of one specific Unchained like trap card, it's gonna gain 900 from it, 300 for each. But again, like it sat in defense and got linked away for the most part for me, so I wouldn't bank on it too much. It also does float if you've already got an Unchained card in your graveyard, but again, this thing was only ever used for link climbing. That ability to steal an opponent's monster as link material is way more important than anything else. And like I alluded to earlier, it really sucks to draw this card. You never want it in your hand because it has no way to special summon itself. So you just have to like pop an Unchained card that can summon from the hand and then summon it from the hand, but that just feels like you're not gaining enough advantage by pulling it from the deck. It really sucks having it in hand. It's something I only see played at like 1 or 2, and basically from what I've seen, if you're playing 2, it's because you're playing Pot of Desires and you don't want to, it's important, you don't want to banish it, but you don't want to draw it. So whatever floats your boat, but this is one doggo that not too many, please. On to their spell and traps. Their spell and trap lineup is actually all pretty solid. There's like one card that I don't care for, which feels rare these days. Like good traps that aren't infinite in permanence? What? No, that's not what Yu-Gi-Oh does anymore. Come on, dude. Come on, give me more give me more barrel roll, Konami. I want more great trap cards like that. Okay, but yeah, part of what makes them all good is they all have 2 effects. One when they're activated on the field, and additional one when they're destroyed while set on the field. So when any of their spell or traps are destroyed while they're set on the field, they all have the same effect, which is to special summon one Unchained monster from the deck. which is really good, and it combos perfectly with like any of the twins to get your plays going. So starting with the spells, we got 2. Abomination's Prison is basically their Rhoda. It reads, add 1 Unchained card from your deck to your hand. It can add any monster, or any spell, or any trap. Except obviously itself, because Abomination's Prison doesn't have Unchained in the name. It's that simple. It's almost like reading cards is important. But it's a hard once per turn. But honestly, just because of the fact that it's got both effects, it can search any Unchained card, and if it's set on the field and destroyed, you can float. Even drawing multiples of it in the opening hand isn't bad, because you can just search one card with it and then set it and use that card you searched to pop it. So it's really good. It's an instant 3-of. I can't believe it. A Rhoda that's a 3-of. Who'd have thought? The other spell card is not that good. It's arguably like the one bad card in the archetype. Wailing of the Unchained Souls, named after the sound the average Edo Pro player makes after losing a round, is a continuous spell that allows you to target and destroy 1 card in the field if you link summon an Unchained Link monster. Now, it's not horrible. It can activate on both players' turns because it's a continuous spell, and you've got monsters that can link off on your opponent's turn that we'll get to in a bit. So yeah, you can use it once per turn during either player turn if you play the cards right. And in the worst of cases, you could just set it and pop it and get your plays going. But really, it doesn't do anything that the rest of the deck doesn't already do better. It's pretty much always easier to trigger Abominable Unchained Souls effect on your opponent's turn to just summon it from the hand, or maybe revive it from the graveyard with other cards and get a non-targeting pop than get a targeted pop with this. My personal advice, play 1 at most if you like it, preferably 0, or play 3. I don't know, I'm not your dad. Do what you want, man. It's to have fun. Yu-Gi-Oh's a game, you can play it. On to the traps. We got 2 traps and they're actually solid. Hooray! Escape of the Unchained allows you to target 1 Unchained monster you control and 1 other card on the field and destroy them both. It's solid. Technically, it's a -1, but since this whole deck floats, that's never an issue, and like I said like 1,000 times, you can just set it and get plays going, so it's solid. It's a 3-of. I recommend 3. Trap numero 2, we got Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, which is both fun to say and lets you summon 1 Unchained monster from either your hand or graveyard. So in the absolute worst of cases, you could use this to get the big dog out of your hand, but at that point, wow, it just hurts saying that, let alone having to make that play. But it's an option. More, ideally, you can bring back anything from the graveyard. It combos well with Samara. It's crazy, this whole archetype. When used with Abominable Unchained Soul, it can be disruption that you don't have to like wait for a card to be destroyed to proc. You can just activate this and summon the big boy and discard a card and pop it. It's crazy. Maybe activate it on the end phase and get a Rakia out and then pop something. It's combo. There's a lot of options here. It's a pretty solid piece of revival. Big thumbs up. Big 3-of. So that's it for the main deck. Let's get on to those links. First, we got Unchained Soul of Rage.
Look at that dog!
A Dark Attribute Fiend, Link 2. It's got up and down arrows and 1800 attack. It requires any 2 monsters, including 1 Unchained Soul. So you gotta use one of those big boy level 8s to get this out. Its effect reads, during your opponent's main phase. Quick effect, you can target 1 face-up, special summoned monster your opponent controls. Immediately after this effect resolves, Link summon 1 Dark Link monster, except Unchained Soul of Rage, by using only that opponent's monster and this card you control as material. If this card in the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 Fiend monster in your graveyard, except Unchained Soul of Rage, and add it to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. This is like the bread and butter of the deck. It's the go-to Link turn 1. It's my favorite dog in the deck because it's blue, and that's important. This card is what lets you make plays, broadly speaking. I mean, obviously there's 1,000 other ways, but this is the meaningful interaction on your opponent's turn in my eyes. Linking away my opponent's big dirty beaters as a quick effect, sign me up. That's why I wanted to play this deck when I first started researching it. Plus it floats. Kind of. It adds any fiend back to the hand, not just Unchained, which can come up depending on the variants you're playing. This is a 3 of in my eyes. Maybe it's a 2 of if you're playing a mixed deck. The effect speaks for itself. You can go into either their in-archetype Link 3 Unchained, or even Nightmare Unicorn, because the Nightmare monsters are all fiends, so that is a valid option just to, you know, get rid of some cards on the field. There's a lot of things you can do with this. There's a lot of fun you can have, and there's a lot of salt you can rake from your opponent, and that's what it's all about, baby. The second dog is Unchained Soul of Anguish.
Get a load of that dog!
A Link 3 Dark Fiend with 2400 attack. We got those Decode Talker arrows up, bottom left, and bottom right, and it requires 2 monsters, including an Unchained Soul. And its effect reads: you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Immediately after this effect resolves, Link summon a Dark Links monster, except Unchained Soul of Anguish, by using only that monster and this card you control as material. And again, if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, target a fiend in the grave, accept itself, and add it to your hand. Unfortunately, the Link 3 isn't quite as good as the Link 2 in my opinion. Anguish does allow you to use any monster for a Link material, not just special summon ones, but the fact that it's not a quick effect really brings it down. It's still solid removal for anything that can be targeted, and with Rage can be an easy climb into the Link 4 of their archetype or something else like Topologic Zerboros, but usually it doesn't quite feel as impactful as the quick effect on their turn. I'd say play 2, maybe 1 if you're brave, I don't know. And the final dog, we've got Unchained Abomination.
Look at that dog!
The Link 4 Dark Fiend with 3000 attack, 1 arrow pointing up, all 3 arrows pointing down. We got Link plays for days here. Its materials are any 2 or more monsters, including a Link monster. Its effect reads: if a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, except by Unchained Abomination, except during the damage step, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. When another monster is destroyed by a battle, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. And during the end phase, you won't believe it, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You can only use each effect of Unchained
Unholy Abomination
once per turn. This is personally one of my favorite Link 4s, just because if like left unchecked, it can really turn the tide in a duel. It doesn't happen often, but you can win the duel just by putting this on the board and just destroying cards for existing. In its own deck, it's kind of hard not to trigger the first effect. It's really easy when you're playing Unchained cards to pop a card and then also pop another card on the field. So you can destroy one of your arrows and float and then destroy one of their cards. Really easy. Opponent has to be careful not to trigger the second effect on their turn, because if they destroy one of your monsters by battle, this can still proc, which is just funny when they don't read. It's not gonna happen often, but Yu-Gi-Oh players in reading, am I right? And then the third effect literally just triggers because you're playing the game. Oh, it's at the end phase? Yeah, I'm gonna blow something up now. I've been rewarded for having a card on the field. Awesome. I love it. And because it's the end phase, not your end phase, it happens on both players' turns. So the last effect can be really solid for clearing back row in particular. I'd say play 1, maybe 2, depending on what your build's looking like. Extravagance is a card, so that's something else to consider. It's good to have at least 1 for either a good push or even like grindier games. And that pretty much covers the archetype by itself. As of now, that's everything they've got released, but there are a ton of ways to play this deck. Seriously, the whole main deck engine can be played with like 20-ish cards, leaving you 20 other slots to fill in the space. So the deck can absolutely be played pure, but it has some synergy with other engines as well. From what I've seen, the most popular variants are either pure Evil Eye Unchained or Evil Twin Unchained. But do not think that's it. My fellow Yu-Gi-Oh boomers will hear the term destruction and just immediately think of Metal Foes. And you better believe when I first read that some of these effects way back when they were being revealed in like 2018 or whatever it was, I saw these and was like, yo, Metal Foe? I don't recommend that. We'll get into that in a little bit. You can also play, I've seen Unchained, like Layer of Darkness. I've seen an Eldritch variant. And yet another is Sky Striker Unchained. I'm not going to touch on too many of these because they're kind of over the whack. I also tried Metal Foe Unchained personally, knowing that the Fiend Lock would really screw me over, and it went a little something like this.
Unholy Abomination.
Yeah, that fucking sucked. But quick look at 3 of the more popular variants, starting with Evil Eye. 100% honest, I was playing a build of Evil Eye Unchained a week before this video was requested. I was just digging around with it, trying to see what the deck did, all that jazz. I'd heard about it. I was like, it might be fun to play, let's try it. So it was a nice start to the video for me in terms of getting used to the deck. My experience with it was that it was pretty solid. All the Evil Eyes are fiends, so the fiend lock doesn't matter. The Evil Eye field spell has a floating effect when you're destroyed, so there's a little bit of synergy there. Evil Eye just needs a normal summon, and then you can equip it with like Selene, and then you can pop cards on their turn. And then if you've got like Aruhai, you can still pop off and do your shenanigans with your Unchained cards. There's some definite like good first turn hands that are just like, this is a solid board. Evil Eye can put up a solid turn 1. Unchained, if it can put up a very solid turn 1, but can also play through a turn 2. So the 2 engines, when they mesh well, they mesh well. They can kind of cover each other's weaknesses, so to say. The biggest problem I had while playing the deck, as with most every, mishmash deck, is bricking. Too many of one engine and not of the other, and so you're just kind of playing a subpar Evil Eye deck. Maybe you're just playing an Unchained deck and it's not doing well enough for you, or in the worst of cases, you're just drawing cards that have absolutely no synergy. Rakia and Selene, it's like, hell yeah, so many combos with Rakia and Selene. Overall, pretty solid. I can give it an honest, a thumbs up. Another mishmash I mentioned was Evil Twin Unchained. This one's really neat because just opening one of Kiss Kill or Lila, and you can have an end board Unchained Abomination, or the Evil Twins just got a new Link 4, not counting the other 4 or 5 cards you have in your hand. So that one normal summon is a free Link 4 essentially, and then you can do anything else with all the other Unchained cards or whatever else you have in your hand. It can make really consistent turn 1 boards, because you can play 3 Kiss Kill or Lila and you got 6 cards, 40 card deck. Decent chance you're gonna open one of them. It's reliable. I had fun with this one, and I can give it a thumbs up as well. And then finally, there's the Pure build. This is the variant with the most tops to its name, from what I can find. So if you're looking to play this deck at its highest level, historically speaking, this is the one to play. And it's easy enough to understand why. You don't need to put another engine into the deck. You've already got 20 cards and a solid engine. Just put in 20 staples. Just throw in 15 hand traps. Give the most hate against the most meta decks you can. You can throw in solid traps, Ice Dragon's Prison, Permanence, Imperial Order, the Solemn Brigade. There's plenty of things to just throw in here to just make a solid good stuff deck. It is not bad. And if you don't believe me, go look at some of the topping deck profiles. There's some solid, reliable stuff. I toyed around with a few variants. Some of these decks were solid. Most of them were, honestly. Others were,
Unholy abomination.
Yeah. The deck core is really solid. It's hard not to be when every card floats and can proc the floating effects. My 2 biggest complaints across all the variants were just bricking and fairness. Bricking doesn't happen too often. That's more or less just an issue for any deck, really. It's possible, but in general, too many of just the good stuff cards or too many of mixed engines, it can definitely feel like an issue. That's not unique to this deck by any means, but man, when you draw the main deck dog, that sucks. And then getting on to, I think my biggest issue with the deck is I'm referring to it as fairness, because these cards are really fair. And, honestly, that's not a bad thing. That makes for some fun gameplay on both ends of the table and allows for a lot more meaningful swings and momentum for both players. But when you're playing against Drytron with no hand traps, and the end board is more negates than there are ritual monsters in the game, and your end board is like 3 pieces of interruption because you're gonna link away with Rage, and you've got like 1 pop with one of the traps, and also your skill opened Ash, it's like, I feel like we're on different levels. You feel the uphill battle. And just little things like the traps needing to be set to float means you can't do some cheeky plays like activate the first effect to pop Rakia and another card in your opponent's field, and then chain Rakia's effect to pop the trap, and that way Rakia and the trap would float to get 2 monsters, and you've gotten rid of one of your opponents, which is a solid play. I don't think that's a game-breaking play. 1 pop and 2 summons does not seem unfathomably broken compared to the fact that Zeus exists and can be overlaid on top of Zeus. Like that, holy shit, that's a thing you can do. And just in general, like the Fiend lock can hamper things. It's not on every card. Like technically you don't have to do it. You don't have to lock yourself into it. But like you're probably gonna do that because how are you gonna make multiple plays without using 1, 2, or 3 of the twins effects? The deck can struggle with hand advantage as well. Across every build I've played, across everything I've seen, like everyone's got like desires or extravagance or something, just the simple +1s. They matter in the long game. That's my critique of it. That being said, it's not all doom and gloom. The deck is fair, and that's fantastic for more casual play. When you want something to play at locals or just with friends, and you want something that's not going to make your friends hate you because, oh my god, stop playing Drytron against me, I just want to activate cards and resolve them, this is a great deck for that. It's got tops. It's been played to success by competent players, so there is a wide gap for skill levels to enjoy it. You can play this and do really, really well and be really good, or you can just play this casually and have some fun. And that's not too common for all decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! So I really enjoy that aspect of it. It's also cheap as hell. Like the most expensive card on TCG Player is the Link 2 for like $5. So in the grand scheme, you can definitely pick this deck up for the cheap. You can get the core, test all the different variants to your heart's content, and have fun with it. And that's what it's about, baby. Just don't play the Metal Foe version. Holy shit, that was ass. What a
Unholy abomination.
And so that's it. That's all. Comment and like if you enjoyed it. If you want another archetype review, drop a comment. I don't know if I plan on making another one by myself. This kind of feels like the Walmart brand of Rada's archetype archive. So big shout outs to him, I guess, because really good videos. Go watch them. Subscribe, maybe? I don't know. That's all I got. YDO Strats, signing out. Peace.